All right, guys, so we are here with a Hail Caesar Punic Wars battle report. This is going to be a learning game for Hunter and myself. We played a short game a couple weeks back just to kind of get a feel for it. Hopefully this game will be a little bit more on the ball with the rules. But we're just going to do a quick one. We've got the table set up here, just a simple setup with a little village on the right and then some trees on the left. And we're just going to be playing on a 4x4 table today. So we're going to be playing the encounter battle mission from the main rulebook, where we'll both start on each side of the table and engage in the middle. And I believe the main victory condition is just to see who will break the opponent's division first. So we're going to break there. I'm going to take you through, or Hunter's going to take you through his force, and then I'll take you through mine, and then we'll get started. All right, so this is Hunter's division of Carthaginians, or rather a Carthaginian force made up of allied troops. Hunter, do you want to take us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. Up in the front leading, I've got a couple of skirmishers. Their job is just to try to irritate some of Charlie's forces over there, annoy him as much as possible while they're up front. We got the leader in the back. On the left-hand side, you've got the Italians. On the right-hand side, you've got the Spanish. Sorry, my right, your left, all that jazz. And then in the middle back there is the Libyan heavy infantry.
Great, okay. And what did you think of the game when we played it the first time, Hunter?
Given everything, we just kind of played simple rules. I like the way that the orders system kind of throws a little bit of chaos, and it also forces you to change your approach, just because that's not something you see often. Like usually in, say, games like 40K XY, you fail a charge with one unit, okay, whatever, your entire battle plan going into that turn isn't ruined. This, you fail on that first roll, that's a pretty significant failure in strategy. So yeah, you got to backpedal a little bit, and yeah, I think it's an interesting game because of that.
Great. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to take you through my Romans, and we'll get deployed after that. I just want to pause the video here for a moment to talk about the Triarii. Historically speaking, we are told that the Triarii were formed into units of about half the number of men as the other units in the Roman army during this period, namely the Hastati and the Principae. The rules for Hail Caesar in epic battle scale, at least, choose to represent this by having one unit stand behind the other vertically. I personally don't think this makes any sense. I think that the Romans would be far more likely to maintain the same frontage as the units of Hastati and Principes, especially if they're supposed to be deployed in this checkerboard formation for mutual support. And I think it's far more likely that they would simply reduce the depth of the unit by half. So that's how I've chosen to play the game at this point, is to have the two Triarii side by side, maintaining the same frontage. It's not a rules mistake. It's a deliberate choice. Hunter was aware of it before we began playing. And I just think it makes a lot more sense. And I'm not sure quite why the rules writers have chosen to suggest that you play it the way that they did. But we're going to play it this way in our games of Hail Caesar, at least unless somebody can tell me either historically or logically why this vertical formation that the rules suggest is a better choice. All right, guys, so here's my Roman division, just across from Hunter's Carthaginians. So I've got the standard manipular formation here. I've got my Hastati in the front, the Principe on the right here, and then the Triarii in the back. I've got my commander on the left, and then a unit of Velites over here to try to duel with Hunter's skirmishers and keep them from disrupting my heavy infantry too much. So as far as the plan goes, we've got the open center of the table. I'm probably going to try to deploy my forces, make the most of my manipular special rule to keep my guys in support, and swap them out when they get too shaken, or when they take too many casualties and start getting towards that shaken limit of their stamina. So pretty simple. We're just keeping it easy today just to get a better feel for the rules. We're going to go ahead and get deployed, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, guys, so we have deployed. The two divisions are facing off across this plain in Iberia somewhere. We've got hunters, skirmishers, and then his heavy infantry in the back. And then on my side of the table, we got my guys. I'm trying, like I said during my intro, I'm trying to make the most use of the manipular special rule. Screen my guys with the skirmishers as we move forward, and then hopefully be able to come into contact with the main body of the enemy here. So not too complicated. We're going to go ahead and roll off for the first turn, and we'll go from there. So this is the result of the first turn of movement. We both failed our command order. My units have drilled, so I was able to make one movement up, and Hunter failed his command order. So we're both just kind of jockeying for position right now. We're going to check in with you after turn 2. All right, so this is the situation at the end of turn 2. Hunter failed his command order. I passed mine, moved my division up. We're getting near to the village. The idea is we're going to use the village as a hinge and then move around to face Hunter's main body. And that's it. So this was the end of turn 2, and we'll check in with you after turn 3. Okay, guys, this is the end of turn 3. So I passed my command check to move up, but I didn't get enough of a margin of success to make contact with Hunter's infantry. So I just decided to remain in place and just dress my lines a little bit and get into the manipular formation so I can make use of my supports. I did charge my velites into Hunter's skirmishers occupying the village there. It did not go well for me. So they charged in. I lost the combat by 1. I made my break check and failed. I got a 3. And on the chart, that is a break result. So they have been completely removed from the game. So that's not looking too good right now for me. But we'll see how the next turn goes, and we'll check in with you after that. Guys, this is the middle of turn 4. We just finished Hunter's shooting phase, so his skirmishers have peppered my Triari on the right here with their javelins. And I rolled 6 on, because Hunter rolled a 6 on his ranged check, I had to make an automatic morale check, or break check, I think is the technical term that Hail Caesar uses. So the result that I rolled was either to have them become disordered or to fall back in good order. Because we've got the main body of the Carthaginian division right across from us, I decided to go ahead and choose to be disordered in the hopes that my Triari's special rule will allow me to recover from that, so I can continue to advance and make contact. So that's a quick update. We're going to go ahead and do my turn, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, guys, so I did not pass my 4-up check to recover from disorder for my Triari. So I didn't want to push my Principes or my Hastati up and isolate them. So I just elected to remain in place, and that is the end of my turn. So we're just going to wait for Hunter to move and advance. He's within 12 inches, which I believe means that he must move either directly towards or away from me on his turn. So we're just waiting for the final contact of the battle lines in turn 5. This is the end of turn 4, and we'll check in with you once we've cleared that next turn. All right, guys, so Hunter failed his command check, and he elected not to make an initiative move. So we're still facing off. His skirmishers continue to pepper my Triari. And so I took another casualty. Didn't need to take a break check this turn. So I kind of have to decide what I'm going to do. I don't like being sort of exposed to the skirmisher fire too much, but because the Triari have continued to be disordered, I don't have too much choice. So hopefully this turn I'll be able to make their elite roll to recover from disorder, and then get some maneuvering to get into grips with the enemy. All right, guys, so this is the end of turn 5. I passed my elite check to remove the disorder. However, I failed my command roll. So I chose not to, or because I didn't make an initiative move before then, we're still facing off. So Hunter's going to take his turn 6, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, guys, so we have finally made contact. Hunter charged in. He got his Libyan heavy infantry into contact with my Hastati on the left, and then he supported them with his Italians and his Spanish Scutari. So I fought with the Hastati, supported by the Principes, and then the Triari are still over here on the right, doing nothing. We managed to hold our own, though. I was kind of surprised. We took 4 casualties, and then I had to distribute 1 onto the Principes because they only have 4 stamina. Hunter took 5 casualties, but because these regular formed infantry, non-manipular infantry, have the 3 bases, have a higher stamina, he's able to contain those casualties on the unit that suffered them. So we're going to move on to my half of turn 7. I need to keep better track. The turns go by a lot faster.
Yeah, they really do
than
when you're
Legions
just
Imperialis.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and do my half of the turn, and we're going to come back to you after that. All right, guys. So this is the end of the next turn. I think it's turn 8. Pretty eventful. We had our first major clash. I think probably the thing that saved my bacon was the manipular special rule. So I was able to swap the Hastati, who had suffered some significant casualties in the previous turn, for the Principe, and they, with the support of the Hastati, were able to do enough casualties to the Libyans to force a break check. Hunter rolled pretty poorly, I'm afraid, and he had to fall back with his supports in disorder. So that leaves just the Spanish facing off against my Triari. However, they did fairly well, I think, in the combat phase. They did 3 casualties to my 1. I rolled well on my break check, so my Triari stood their ground, but they are now shaken. So most of my units are shaken or close to it. So I kind of think we'll have to make a significant push this next turn if we're going to see victory for the Roman side. So we're going to move on to the next turn. We'll do Hunter's side, and we'll check in with you after that. Okay, so this is the end of Hunter's half of turn 9, I believe. In his movement phase, he withdrew his skirmishers from the village and maneuvered them around behind his Libyans and Italians. So they're lurking in the back there. In the combat phase, my Triari rolled very well, and the Spanish broke and have fled the field. So my very torn up Romans are still hanging in there, and we're going to go ahead and do my movement and combat, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, guys, so it's been a real back and forth this turn. On my left, Hunter's Libyans removed their disorder at the end of his part of the turn. In the combat, I did not fare well. The Principes and the Hastati took several casualties. I think I rolled a 6 on the break check, so I maintained order, but I did have to fall back. And over here on the right, my Triari were able to push back the Italians that they engaged. All of my units are at their stamina limit, so we're in pretty rough shape, I'm afraid. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next turn, and we'll check in with you after Hunter's movement. All right, so this is the end of Hunter's turn and the end of the game for us. Over here on the left flank, my Principes, supported by the Hastati, were able to push back and break the Libyan heavy infantry, which had pushed so far up the table. Unfortunately for me, because all of my units are shaken, and we check for the broken status of a division at the beginning of the command phase of your turn. Hunter's broken division is only broken until the start of his next turn. So because it's now going into my turn, all of my units are shaken, my division is broken, and so they will retire from the field. So I think this was an interesting experience experience. I think
Definitely.
getting a little bit
More
more
into the
of the
weeds.
rules definitely made the game play out more tactically. I really liked the push and pull of the close combat, how we had the different units falling back and moving forward, the interplay of the stamina and the casualties, the redistribution. Um,
And it didn't manage to make the game feel more bulky, if that makes
no,
sense.
no, it was very much. I think it was simple. I have some thoughts about the rule book, but I think once you interpret the rule book and get onto the table, I'm enjoying it very much so far. So this is just the first of hopefully many games of Hail Caesar you'll see on the channel. I'll probably do another video about my initial thoughts, so I won't burden you too much with them here. But I guess I should give Hunter a chance to give his thoughts as well. What did do you have any final things you want to share with us, Hunter?
No, nothing in particular. I think, as stated, it didn't add any bulk to the game. The rules felt good. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like they were adding anything unnecessary, or
Mm.
just it gives flavor, good
Yeah,
flavor. That's about it.
good. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first introductory Hail Caesar battle report on the channel. Like I said, I'm sure we'll see more in the future, um, and we'll see you then.